Welcome back to Silent Sales Machine Radio. We are your co-hosts. I'm Brian.
And I'm Robin Joy.
And this is Coach's Corner.
Hey, Brian, what you been up to? Fooling around, doing nothing?
Oh, yeah. We just took the last couple of weeks off for no reason.
Yeah. Not. We had a whole bunch of fun.
Yeah, we've been away for a little bit, but I think we became recharged.
Yes.
What did we first start off with? Like, we left town a couple weeks ago,
a couple weeks ago. And we went to see some of our friends in Carabel, Florida, over in the Panhandle.
Yep.
Great time with them. We met some new friends. We did some fishing.
We did some open mic night.
We did some open mic night. That's right. Brian got to play the guitar. Yeah,
played a little guitar while we was down there.
Yeah, they really liked that. That was good.
Got to do some fishing. We went out we chartered a boat with a.
Oh yeah, that was fun out in the sea.
With a captain, and he hooked us up and took all the fish off the hooks and filleted them for us when we were done and everything. Yeah. And we ate fish that night.
And didn't we do some? What did he call surf fishing?
The next day. That's right.
Yeah, great time.
Really
fun.
I don't think I told you this, but I downloaded this step counter app. Mm-hmm. And the day that we were surf fishing and we came back, I had over 5 miles and over 10,000 steps.
Oh my gosh, that was a lot of walking.
Yeah.
In the water.
Water, right.
Yeah. I got a lot of it. Oh man. I can't complain. I'm just so grateful that, I can walk without pain now.
I know, right?
I just can't complain about it.
Just walking along in the sand like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, it was great. And we met some great new friends.
We did. Went to this great barbecue out on Dog Island.
Apalachicola.
Oh, Apalachicola.
T-shirts from Apalachicola. I used to think that was a made-up name. It's a real place.
It is actually a real place, yeah. Saw a great band while we were in Apalachicola, too. Right? Sort of this country band that had a sax player.
Yeah, it was really cool. Lots and lots of fun.
Called Apalachicola Sound is the name of the band. I think.
Yeah, that's easy to say.
I know, right? Yeah. But really entertaining if you ever get a chance to listen to them or see them live. I thought they were great, actually.
Well, I thought the trip just got better because we came back to Orlando, and then what did we do?
Well, once we got back to Orlando, we did this 2-day workshop. The 2 days prior to the Proven Conference.
I think it was the best one yet. The largest one yet. It was just crazy fun.
The workshop was super interesting to me because a couple of things happened. Like, we've done this workshop a number of times.
Yeah.
And this time we knew it was going to be a larger audience and we knew we needed some way to engage, right?
Right.
It's one thing when there's 20 people there. I say this like it was a larger audience. It was still intimate, right?
Right.
It was a smaller room. Everyone got to know each other. They were, again, doing homework at night together.
Yes, I love that.
And, really getting to build some relationships.
Yeah.
Which I want to make sure that we talk about that when we get into the topic of the conference. But on the drive back from Carabel to Orlando, we're thinking, okay, how do we engage a larger group? Right? So we're like, can we get some sort of, can you and I just have some...
It just kind of came organically.
Like verbal sparring, not sparring, but verbal, what do we want to call it? Just, animated discussion.
Let's just show them what it is.
So here's what it is.
Okay. So what do we want, Brian?
Well, let's set the context.
Okay.
What are we talking about? Our Amazon business, right?
We're talking about our Amazon business.
Because we're teaching people.
We're going to use this in the workshop, right?
Right. The workshop to help the Replens Accelerator, right? Get your 100 replenishable ASINs. Okay. So, now go.
So what do we want?
We want predictability.
And why do we want that?
So we know what's going to happen.
And how do we get predictability?
Consistency. We need consistency for predictability.
Right.
What else do we want?
We also want sustainability.
Why do we want sustainability?
So we know what's going to happen next month, and the next month after that, and the next month after that.
And how do we get it?
Frameworks.
Yeah, we implement frameworks that can easily be tweaked for your business.
That's right. And what else do we want, Brian?
We want scalability.
Scalability. And why do we want scalability?
So that we can 10x the results that we're getting.
Yeah, anytime and every time.
Anytime and every time, right?
That's right. And how do we get that scalability?
We get scalability with systems.
Systems.
So this is what this workshop is basically comprised of. And we're thinking about, if we were to boil this workshop down to the top 3 things that you're going to get out of it. Well, you get predictability, you get sustainability, and you get scalability.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about that a lot in the workshop. We talk about it a lot in the book.
Yep.
We talk about a lot with our coaching students. There's just, these are the things that any business would want, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we talked about how we're going to get them.
Oh, yeah.
Through consistency, frameworks, and systems.
And then we give the tools that you need to make that happen, right?
Yeah.
The workshop, I love it for that reason. And I feel like a lot of the times that the feedback we get is from like day one participants is, yes, I had a pretty good idea of kind of how this works and what this was and how to apply it.
Kind of put it all together for me, gave me some tools to use.
But then what happened in day 2?
Then day 2, Brian poured gasoline on it.
In day 2, we pour some gasoline on it.
Yeah.
And we figure it's sort of like a system is great. It's like I've used this analogy before, but it's like having the program QuickBooks. It's an awesome program.
Oh, sure.
But it's not useful until it has data in it.
Right.
Right. And so
it's a framework, but you got to put something into the framework, create a system out of it.
So what we do in day 2 is we talk about how to fill those frameworks and systems with the information that you need to go to 100 replenishable ASINs.
Or more.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is your minimum sort of
to
starting
create
point. Right?
your foundation, or to hand this off so that somebody else can do it for you. A lot of people were filling in the holes in their foundation. That first day is really good for, I was moving so fast. I just never really got into this one spot. Then we had a couple of vendors come in to help us learn how to use some of the tools that we're using to fill that up. It was just really, really lots and lots of fun.
So we had actually 3 different partners come in. One of them was Quincy Lynn with QuickFinds. And I'm name dropping Quincy Lynn because I'm going to quote him a little bit later in the podcast. But just a great member of the community. I mean, his heart is huge.
Always very, very giving and generous.
He is. And he made a tremendous offer to the people in that workshop.
He did.
To help them start filling their, their frameworks and systems with data. The second demo that we had was the 3P Mercury, right? Or was it Nepetto? I can't remember.
I think Nepetto was next.
Okay, so then we had the Nepetto guys. They come in and show you how to go. So we talk a lot about, what do we call? If you don't see the video, we put our hands together almost like a timeout, but I put it in a peak. Robin puts it.
I put it in a corner.
Perpendicular, a corner. So what are we looking for? We were looking for a listing that is created correctly. It's branded correctly. You're not going to get yourself in trouble by selling on it. And then we match that up with a trusted source, an authorized source for that product. And we put those 2 things together.
And then we have a viable ASIN. We build that database full of vitamin ASINs, viable ASINs, so that we can reach in there and find some that are testable ASINs and send them in.
Because what's the most frustrating and time-consuming part of sourcing?
Putting the source with the ASIN.
Finding a source.
Yeah.
Finding a source. Well,
and it's not really viable if it doesn't have a source.
Tools like QuickFinds and Nepetto, they have the sources and they map it back to an ASIN. So we get a lot of that work pre-done. So basically, when you say reach into the bag, and you pull out if we're talking about Scrabble, when you reach into the Scrabble bag,
you pull out a letter.
You pull out a letter. It's you pull out something that is a viable ASIN. It's an ASIN that you would sell on with a source that you would buy from, and now all you have to do is evaluate whether you want to test it or not.
Whether you want to test it right now or not.
Whether you want to test it right now. You're exactly right. And if it's not when you want to test right now, you put it back in the bag and you pull out something else.
Fortunately, Kang Deng brought information about 3P Mercury, which showed us how we can put all these viable ASINs into 3P Mercury and run some filters to show us which ones are the best ones to test right now.
I give Kang a hard time because I'm like, you need to add some more filters on this page, bro. and he's like, look, we're not trying to be Keepa.
right? Keepa's really got a lot.
We know Keepa's got a lot of filters, right? And this is the power. Keepa's great with filters but it's only one side of the equation, right? It's only giving you the ASIN. And this is where I feel like a lot of people get frustrated with, Keepa 360 and sourcing in general. Wow, I found this great looking ASIN. It's so awesome, but I can't find the source.
Yep.
Well, we've all said before, it's not a great looking ASIN unless you have the source too, right?
Doesn't look great to me without a source.
So in this case, the filters that you need to apply what we call the 3-step check are already in 3P Mercury. And so you can easily check for sales velocity, you can easily check for capital protection, and you can easily check for potential profit.
Yeah.
Love it. Makes it. So now all we do is got to just keep adding these viable ASINs.
Reach in there and get your best few for this week. Yeah.
You're like, oh, I pulled a Z and an O and a blank, and I got a triple word score. Bang.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so
then what did we do?
So then
we're still not done.
We still haven't been home yet. Just the first part of this, right? And we go then to the conference.
Yes.
So the conference starts on Thursday, and we are up actually bright and early because we're hosting a session called...
Yeah, the Rockin' Rookies, the Ambassador Program. Yeah. That was so much fun.
2 different things. The Ambassador Program we actually set up the night before with the leadership crew, right? And so everyone... What is an ambassador? Ambassador
were people who wear a button that said, hey, I'm here to help, so that people who had not been there before could know which ones, were easy to talk to. They were open and ready for them to ask questions. Where's the bathroom? Where's this room that I'm going to this session? What session should I go to? Or, hey, I'd like to meet somebody. Open for that. And they did such a wonderful job. We're so grateful for all the people who volunteered to do that.
We ran out of buttons. I mean, everyone was like, sure, I'll be an ambassador. Yeah. And this speaks to the dedication of the leadership team in this community.
Just part of the culture.
Yeah. Every person who was in the leadership group was like, I'll take a button. We ran out. We actually did hold one back because I thought we were going to give one to someone who wasn't there. And I think we were all out by the time the next day started.
Yeah.
Right?
It was great. It was great. We really appreciated that.
So then the Rockin' Rookies.
And then we had the Rockin' Rookies. Now this was a early morning session that we had, all 3 mornings. Everybody was welcome. But if you were a first timer, we gave you a gig bag. So it had some essential items, some hand sanitizer, some tissues, some breath mints, some stress balls, all kinds of things that you kind of need to have with you and you never think to bring. We gave those out, and then we had drawings every single morning.
Right, we're giving stuff away, right?
And then everybody could get in there. Everybody who came to that session could get in the drawings.
Oh, yeah, by the way, everyone who went to the workshop,
yes.
What did they get?
They got a coffee mug.
They got a coffee mug that Keep Calm and Test More ASINs,
Keep Calm and Test More ASINs, that's right.
And we actually gave some of those away during the Rockin' Rookies sessions the next 3 days as well. So the Rockin' Rookies took me by surprise because this was your brainchild. And I was, vaguely aware of what was going on. And I was like, why are you buying all these things? And you're like, I'm making gig bags. And I'm like, what's a gig bag? Right? Well, I found out what a gig bag was.
Buttons every day.
On Thursday morning when we had to go down an hour and a half before and fill all the bags with stuff, right?
Well, we remember all those things we were doing. We hadn't had time yet to put together the bags.
And, we didn't want to prep.
And thank you for those of you who came and helped us do that, too.
Oh, yes. So I haven't even gotten to the people that impacted me.
Oh, my gosh, right?
At the conference yet. But so... Yeah, I'll save that. But so we go down early.
Yep.
We were very early, and we put these gig bags together with all the stuff, and we had great help from friends and from coaching clients and people who were just there to give.
Yeah.
Right, to serve.
Yeah, Robin Tuggett came and helped us.
Yes.
It was just lovely.
Susan Stegman helped us. Yeah. Amy Tafauti helped us. We had
more help than and several people offered to help. There just wasn't room for everybody over there.
Yeah.
Oh, no hurting for help.
It was phenomenal. So then, so everyone who is new gets a gig bag, right? But there were other benefits to going to this morning session, which, by the way, standing room only.
Yeah.
That standing room only on that first day.
That was so great.
Yeah.
I saw Jim pop his head out, and then he popped his head back out.
Well, he actually came in. He came in, and I asked him a question, and he's like, "I got to get out of here."
He was like, not quite ready for this yet.
Yeah.
No, he would have stayed if we needed him.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Totally.
Really, really fun stuff.
So we did that through all 3 days. And while I will say attendance did slightly decrease each day, it's still, we had full rooms.
Yeah.
And
well, people were getting tired and staying up late.
Right. And they needed the extra time to sleep.
It was 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. So we also covered 2 other topics, speaking wise, at the conference.
We did. Yes, and that was fun too. We always enjoyed doing that.
You said you didn't realize that the sessions were the same name until it was too late. Or
yeah,
not
they
the
were
same name, they were similar.
They were similar names, and I didn't realize.
So let's talk about From Curious to Confident.
From Curious to Confident was the first one. We talked about, just when you're first getting started, some of the questions that you have, my heart is with the people coming into the community and just getting started. And I work with the Kickstart program, and they have a lot of the same questions, week after week in the different groups that come through. So I've gotten a real kind of feel for what people are looking for when they come in. So we just did a couple of sessions, pretty informal on those kinds of things. And we took a lot of questions, and they were great questions, and people were really participating. That was good. It was fun.
Yeah, it was great. And then the second session was From Chaos to Clarity. And this is where we did a sort of a recap of the 7 core competencies.
Right. We did a series on this podcast on 7 core competencies.
Yep. And you can go find that on the silentjimdotcom/podcasts. You can find the playlist for those 7 core competencies. But we upped the ante with this year, right? With this approach.
Well, we wanted to add a little bit to it. So these are the competencies that you need, but how about if we add some KPIs to it so we can measure how well we're doing on those competencies? Oh, well, and then once we measure and we realize there's some improvement to be made, what are the dials and bells and switches that we can use to make improvement?
That's right.
So we added those 2 things to that session. And a lot of people responded well. I was worried about that one because it was like 4 o'clock on the last day. And I was like, oh man, what are we going to do? Well, we had this whole big box of stress balls left over. They're pretty small, but bright yellow and had a little saying on them. And so we just started tossing them out into the audience, and then everybody started having fun. And it really, really went well. We got a lot of good feedback on that.
I thought it did too. And I would just, one thing I would encourage you to go watch it, but we say these are the things that you need to be clear. These are the things that we use in our business.
Yeah.
And if you would like to take any or all of it, you're more than welcome to, right?
And we use this in our coaching as well when we're coaching one-on-one.
Same thing with the workshop. It says a path to 100 ASINs. It's not the path, right?
Absolutely.
There are many ways to get there. This is the way that worked for us. This is the way that works for the majority of our coaching clients. This is just a way to get there.
Yep.
And so it was encouraging to me to see so many people who got value from that, got value from both sessions. They got value from the rookie. Oh, I forgot to talk about one of the exercises that we did, 2 of the exercises we did actually at the Rock and Rookie session. So on day 2, right?
Yeah, that was a great exercise. It went over really well. I think it really helped a lot of people.
Now, we didn't want to do it on day 1 because everyone's maybe a little nervous, and right, we wanted everyone to kind of settle in. But the exercise that we did was we did this like networking exercise.
Right. So let me just help set it up. Brian is naturally a lot shyer than I am, a lot more reserved, I'll say. He's not as outgoing as I am.
And mainly because I'm just afraid of putting my foot in my mouth. Is the only reason. Not that I don't have a lot to say.
I'm not afraid of it. I do it all the time, but I'm not afraid of it. So you had a mentor early in your career that helped you kind of know what to say to people.
Always have a go-to.
Get up and say to.
Always have a go-to. If I'm in a situation with someone where I'm like, I don't know what to say, I always go back to this acronym called FORM. And each letter stands for, as an acronym does, I don't need to explain that, right? Family, occupation, recreation, message. And so in this case, you can always talk with someone. Hey, you got kids? Are you married? What's your
family
fan
like?
situation?
Mm-hmm. And somebody's mentioned to me later, which I think you've used before too, is where are you from?
Oh,
especially when you're in a place where
that's a good
everybody's
one.
yeah,
where are you from now?
Where everybody's from somewhat place
that's
else.
true. That's a good point. From you could use family or from, and then O is occupation, like what do you do for a living, right?
Or house business.
Or I was going to use that as the message.
Oh,
right. Then R is recreation. What do you do for fun? Do you I always ask, do you own a jet ski? Because I want to be friends with you. Right. And then message, like the message is whatever is the event, right? Well, let's talk about what's going on here.
Yeah.
Right. How's business? How can I help?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Which sessions are you going to? What are you going to lunch? Yeah.
Right.
Whatever it is. And we had them do like a speed dating, right?
Yeah.
So we gave them 60 seconds. We had them pick somebody near them that they did not know.
Yep.
And 60 seconds they talked to them. Then we switched. Bell ring, turn around, go to a different person that you don't know. 60 seconds again. We did that 3 times, and then we couldn't get them to sit.
And then everyone was talking.
Couldn't get them to sit down.
And
it was so
it was great. Then we did another exercise on the tail end of that. Before everyone sat down, we divided the room in half. So half the attendees were on the left wall, half the attendees were on the right wall, and we said, pick a spot on the other side of the room that you're going to go to. And then we okay, go. And they need to walk to their spot. And so this is like crossing traffic, right?
Yeah. They're, having to get around each other and get around. There were tables in that room.
Yeah.
Plenty of obstacles.
Oh, plenty of obstacles. Chairs, tables, people. Right? I was thinking I should have jumped in front of some people just to see what they would do. We'll do that next time.
Freak them out.
But
they got there just fine. Everyone very quickly.
Everyone got to their place.
So what was the point there?
The point was you are going to face obstacles in business and in life, and they didn't stop and go, "Oh, this doesn't work. I quit."
Oh,
right.
That table's in my way. I'm just not going to do it.
Or Amazon's out to get me. This is not fair.
I wonder why that person's going over there. Why do they think that's a good idea?
Yes.
I wonder how come that person picked that one when they should have picked the one I'm picking.
Why does that person have purple hair?
Yes. Nobody said any of that. They just went to their spot.
They went to their spot.
They dealt with their obstacles and they went to their spot. And it was a great way to just realize there are going to be obstacles. There are going to be people who have their own plan that we're not involved in. We don't care about. We don't need to care. We don't, bowl them over. We say, excuse me, we move around and everybody gets to where they're going just fine. Don't forget where you're going. Yeah. Don't worry about where anybody else is going.
Right. Okay, so the Proven Conference was like, we were...
Then we went again, man. Just, the Proven Conference was just so much more this year. Every year, it's my favorite.
I felt like it was a lot more for me too this year, and I shared during the closing session why I felt like it was, and I've heard Jim say it, Nate says it, everyone who's up, and Jimmy says it, everyone who has the opportunity to share with the attendees, what does it mean to them, how does it impact them, and actually, I mentioned this in the workshop as well, that for the longest time, for the first however many years, I was really focused on the tactics of this business, especially when I was coaching, right? Because people want to know, how do I do this? How do I do it? How do I do it?
You're still coaching.
I know. I still coach, yeah. But the point of this is that, people want to know, how do I do this? How do I import ASINs how do I find ASINs into Pedo? How do I import them to 3P Mercury? How do I source using Keepa? How do I, pre-flight check a listing? How do I do how, right?
Right.
What we forget about is the why.
Yeah.
Or what I didn't really incorporate into my coaching was the why. And that didn't happen until I saw you coaching. And when I saw you coaching and you were really focused on where is this person and why are they doing this and how can I help them? Not here's a tactic, right? Meeting them where they are. And I did hear someone say, one of our coaching clients who we met there, and he said, I used to think I don't need to. Oh, no, it's Mike Alty in Mike Alty's session, actually. He said, I used to think, I don't need this mindset stuff. I just need to know, how do I go, how do I find ASINs?
Yep. I hear that a lot when we start out.
Yeah. And then he realized that, Amazon moves the goalposts a lot. And then you need to find the why.
Yeah.
Right?
You need to find your inspiration. You need to find what is going to keep you going when things don't go so well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you can't just start there either. But I do, as coaches, I think you and I try, and all the coaches I think really do, try to meet you where you are. I mean, you can't expect somebody to see what you can see until they can see it, right?
Right. Even though you know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I was just filled up at that Proven conference. I kind
of lost the thread there. But
I always underestimate how much I need that, how drained I'm getting by the time that next year is almost over. And it's been that long since I've actually made contact in person with the people that we love. And then I get there and I get excited and I'm just going 90 miles an hour the whole time. And then I realize on our way home, I just realized I'm filled up now. I'm ready to go again. And I'm so grateful for everyone who contributed to filling me up. It was a wonderful, wonderful time.
So for me this year, it was less about the tactics,
Yeah.
right? I found that it was more about the relationships. And this is what I hear Jim and Nate and Jimmy say year after year. And not that it wasn't about the relationships for me, but for some reason, it just hit me more this year. The tactics are fine. And maybe it's because I spent time talking to people about their experience at the Proven Conference and about their experience in coaching and about their experience.
You did some interviews with some people. That was...
About their experience in the Kickstart Boot Camp, right? About their experience just in the community.
Yeah, the community has a lot to offer.
And here's the other cool thing is like the majority of people at this conference were first-time attendees.
Yeah.
Like on that first day, Jim says, asked the audience how many people, or I think it was Jim or maybe it was Sue, but said how many people was first conference. It seemed like 80% of the audience, right, was new. And so what's so encouraging to me about that is...
Which doesn't mean they're all brand new
not
Amazon.
Just, new,
but first-time conference,
is that we showed up as a community. We showed up not with smoke and mirrors. We showed up with heart.
Yeah.
And
I really, really felt that.
I did too.
Yeah.
So
it was beautiful.
And it was impactful. And when the last session ended and you and I took off to go get some dinner because we had to catch an early flight the next day.
Yeah.
I was a little sad when I took off my lanyard. I was like, I don't want it to end. Like this feeling is something that we need to bottle up and we need to be able to drink a little bit every week when we come home. It's like, I need some of that.
Exactly.
I need some of that Proven conference.
Right.
Got any more of that Proven conference?
Yeah.
So anyway, we do have a list of preliminary, what we call WPAs.
Right. I'm excited about the WPAs. We just started looking at them.
So remember, WPA is...
worth the price of admission.
Yes.
Things that we would have gone to that conference for and gone to the trouble and paid to get there and stay there in the time if we just got this one thing.
Yeah. Now, what I want to just ask you, challenge you, if you belong to the Facebook group, would you please tag us in the Facebook group with your WPAs?
Yeah, we want to hear them. Let's get it going. Let's tell everybody how great that was.
Let's get a list going because
in the My Silent Team Facebook group, let's start telling each other what our WPAs are. Help us know what we missed because we can't be everywhere at once, and let's all share. All right, what do we got, Brian?
Well, the first one actually came from the workshop. Okay, we were talking about the age-old question. Well, why is this person selling it for below cost? Why would they sell it for a loss? Why would somebody buy this? That was what it is. Why would somebody buy this for 3 times as much as what they could just go down to Walmart and get it for? Yeah. Yeah, that's a question we hear all the time.
Why ask why, right? And this student, what did he say?
He says, it doesn't make sense, but it does make money.
Yeah.
And this was Michael Worthen, who's in the workshop. Front row.
Front row.
God, I love it. When you go to the workshop and you want to be in the front row so you can ask all the questions, take all the notes.
Not everybody can be in the front row.
That's right. There are limited front row seats. But this is like we were talking about why would someone pay? I think we gave the bottle of water example about arbitrage. How do you use the example of a bottle of water that you could probably get for 79 cents if you went through all the steps required to go to the back of the store at Costco, bring it home, unwrap the plastic of a 24 pack of, so you can get one bottle of water at 79 cents.
Yeah.
Or that same bottle of water in a resort town is $14.
That's right. It really is. We were there. But so you buy it in the Sam's or Costco market, and you sell it in a convenience store market or the mountain towns or
the airport
on Amazon.
Or on Amazon, right? Right. And people, why would they pay 3 times as much for that bottle of water on Amazon?
I don't know.
Who cares? Right?
Why ask why?
Yeah, why waste the energy on that?
It doesn't make sense.
So
it does make
to
sense.
me, it doesn't make, this is the quote that summarized that whole thing, right? And I've got a lot of quotes in here. I was inspired by the quotes, and you've got a very specific example. And so the next one is a quote as well.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. I can't remember whose presentation this was in, so I apologize if I'm not, because I'm not giving credit, because I zoomed in on the quote.
Yeah.
Okay. And the quote is, "You must sell a big enough dream that all of the dreams of everybody within your stewardship can fit inside of it."
Yeah.
And this is talking about,
I heard that too.
You know,
tell us who that is in the Facebook group if you
remember.
will, because we want to give him credit. But that was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the quote comes from Ed Milet.
But who put it in their presentation?
Yeah, I just can't remember which presentation it was in. I think it may have been Ryan's, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think it might have been Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan Otwell's. Okay.
Yeah, Ryan Otwell's A to A flip session, which was phenomenal. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
That one session worth the price of admission.
Absolutely.
Because there's like 3 hours worth of content in a 45-minute session with 15 minutes for Q&A. I mean, the amount of content that he had in there was next level. It was
great.
It was awesome.
And inspiring.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, the point of this quote is, when you start doing this, and I think we do, maybe I didn't always think about it this way, but we talk about it a lot with our team. Talk about why do we need to keep our machine, our team going. And this is often why we will sell things that don't make very much profit, but maybe we sell a lot of them so that we can keep everyone paid, because this dream is big.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not sure our dream is big enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We can make our dream
going
bigger.
Back to, I don't think it's big enough. We gotta keep growing it.
We have to make the dream bigger. Yeah.
It's bigger than it used to be. That's for sure. But
yeah. The next one is a little technical, and I snuck it in here because I know you talk me out of putting some of the technical things in here sometimes. But I wanted to include it because it was a huge aha moment for me. Okay, we talk about people get concerned about IP complaints a lot, and a lot of times you'll see what is known as what's called the ski slope of death.
I think that's what Jim calls it.
Yeah, on a listing where the offer count goes from 30 to 5. Yep. Like in a straight down line. And a lot of people think, myself included, that, that's an IP complaint.
And it very well may be.
And it could be.
Right.
It could be, but we learned another reason for that.
Yeah. It could be a high pricing error.
It could be that a whole bunch of people got deactivated for a high pricing error. Because here's what happens. Amazon is constantly scanning the interwebs to see if there's a price better than what that item is being sold for on Amazon. And if they find a price lower than what your price is, what do you get?
Sometimes you might get
a
high pricing error, and they'll deactivate your listing. They search suppress it. They don't deactivate it.
No, it's deactivated. Your listing goes deactivated.
Listing itself is deactivated.
For you.
I don't want anybody can be confused. They don't deactivate your account.
No. Just the listing. Okay. Just the listing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can go fix it and lower your price, whatever. I also don't want anyone to be confused. This is not that little email that you get. This is, hey, you're not going to get the buy box on some of these things. Yeah. That's automatically generated. And we already knew that. We were already testing to see if we could get above the buy box. Thank you, Amazon. Don't worry about those. Brian says if you don't get those, you're not doing it right.
That's right.
This is something different that is much rarer, much more rare. Than those. But yes, it could be something else.
Well, I think Ryan showed it with like a pretty specific correlation, like, this item went on sale on this day, and this is where you see the drop off in offer count. When the item went off sale, you see everyone's listing, not everyone, but all those listings got reactivated again because now there isn't a lower price available outside of Amazon. And that was like a light bulb moment for me where I was like, now I don't know how to, I don't know that what that means to me in my business just yet. But what I do know is not every one of those things is necessarily an IP complaint.
Right.
So
exactly.
Anyway.
Okay. I want to take the next one.
Okay. Yes, I know you do. Yeah.
So Gail Treend was at this Proven conference.
First time we've seen Gail.
First
at a
time
Proven
we've seen her
conference.
in person.
So happy to see her.
And that in itself impacted me. She's been so integral in our business. I don't think she even knows how important she is in business. And as when I see her as reactive coach to the coaches the clients I'm one-on-one with, she's always so supportive and she's just there for people she just makes people feel better. And she did that for us when she was our coach. And what it makes me think, never meet your heroes, right? This community is not like that. Jim's my hero. Gail Treend is my hero. Several of the people in this community are my heroes. So it's okay to meet them. If they're part of this community, I'm pretty darn sure that every one of them that I've met, that's my hero, and probably yours too, they're really that guy. You don't meet them and find out they're just that way for show. These people are really, really like that. And Gail is no exception. In fact, she's the pinnacle of that, in my opinion. So
epitome of.
Yes. So thank you, Gail. Glad to meet you. I've met another one of my heroes. And she said something that was very helpful.
So was this the coaches dinner that we were at when this topic came up?
It might have. Yeah, I think it was. It was, yeah.
So you say, like, well, we were, as a community, we revolutionized, selling on Amazon because we sell above the buy box, right? People don't realize they can sell above the buy box, but.
Gail said, I've always sold above the buy box.
We were like,
what? Like, of course.
Yes.
Of course she does, because why wouldn't you?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great point.
I was just inspired again.
Yeah, I know. That was a sort of a light bulb moment for me too, where I was like, really? And Gail was my coach.
Yeah.
But I never asked her
We didn't start selling above the buy box until very recently.
But I never asked her about how do I improve my profitability.
Or maybe you just didn't hear her.
Well, that could very well be. Because, it always sounds better when I say it.
Yeah, the king of not getting it over here. Yeah,
right. That's true too. That's a great point. She probably did, but I was still focused on how do I find ASINs. I didn't hear that part. Right.
When you got focused on how to find ASINs. All right. What's next? We gotta get these. We got so many. We don't have to say them all, I guess.
No, we're good. We're good on time here.
Okay.
So I had the opportunity to interview some people and their experience about the boot camp and about coaching and about the conference. And one of the couples that I interviewed shared a, somewhat personal moment with me, of which I won't reveal the details, but they were in a situation where they had put the business aside for a while after they'd signed up for coaching. And they revealed to me that signing up for coaching was a major impact to them financially, as it is for a lot of people, right? It's a commitment.
It is.
It's a commitment. And you get to that point where you're like, you're going to commit or you're going to quit. And they had a conversation with Quincy Lynn, who I mentioned earlier, because they were having some problem. They have some technical challenges, and Quincy jumped on a Zoom and solved all their technical challenges, and was kind of asking them how they're going, how their business was doing, and whatnot. And they revealed that they signed up for coaching, but they hadn't had a session in a while, and so they were trying to bootstrap themselves. And as you say, this reminds me of what you frequently say as a coaching client. When you think that everything is going wrong and you don't want to talk to your coach, is probably the exact time that you need to have a coaching session. And what Quincy did for them in that moment was a mini coaching session. And he sort of gave them a thought to help them get back in a groove, which was respect the investment, right? And he's talking about the investment that they made for coaching. And when they told that to me, it just struck me. And again, it hit me in the heart, because people care about each other in this community.
They do. And
people want to see each other succeed in this community. And Quincy is no different. And they took it and they were like, you know what? That makes total sense. It was big impact to us financially. We need to respect that investment. And the way we respect that investment is to get back on the horse.
That's right. That's right. Follow through. Get on your coach's calendar.
Yes.
If you haven't talked to your coach in a while, get on that calendar. You know they're there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was close to me.
All right. What else we got?
Well, we watched the session, on the arbitrage card.
Oh, yeah. Taylor did a presentation
Taylor
in the
did a presentation in the
General Assembly.
Yes, on the arbitrage card. And it was another mind-blowing moment for me because when we've done discount gift cards, and we don't do them a lot. Mm-hmm. When we have, we would go to raise.com and buy the gift card that was, 7% off, 10% off, whatever it was. And it was like, okay, get the code from them and then use that code when you go to check out. And it's a little clunky, right? But you do things for additional 5 to 10% of margin in your business, right? Well, what Taylor was showing there is got this interface where you buy the cards wherever you buy them, and then you load them into this interface. And with just clicks of a button now, you can create a number to use when you're checking out and get your discount. And you don't have to worry about, I don't have any money left on this card. It'll combine your cards. And
it's really worked into something really impressive. He's come a long way with that thing. Yeah.
And Jim called it out too. He's like, wow, you've really matured a lot in this business because, it was the old, let me help you find a discounted gift card. And not that that's what it was. I'm probably mischaracterizing it, to a full on platform solution for discounted gift cards. Like, it is next level. I love it. And it looks slick. It's one of those tools that looks really pretty and all that. Like, there's a lot of tools out there and that look pretty, and you're like, ooh, I'd like to have that.
Yeah.
But this one's got not only good looks, but it's got great function, and it can actually help add dollars to the bottom line.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of the other tools that take money out of your bottom line.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
now the last one.
The last one was someone who came up to me, and this was not a session. This was not a speaker or a leader in the group. It was just a attendee who I met, and she said, I did not come to the conference last year.
She got the live stream.
And it was great. And I got a lot of information. It was really, really good. She said, I showed up in person this year, and I had no idea what I was missing. There is so much more when you're in person. And that is so true. I've never done the live stream one, but I just can't imagine missing out on that feeling, that energy, the energy that's there, that inspiration that's just walking around. It's just everybody has it. It's just like a bunch of people with light bulbs on their heads walking around. It's so beautiful.
Plus, you can feel the heart. Like, I've been saying this a lot. You don't get what you get in the live stream is tactics a lot, unless there's someone sharing from their heart.
Yeah, you get
which we
some
also
of that
had
too. Yeah.
there this year, but it's primarily tactics. How do we do these things? And here's how to do it, and here's why to do it, right? But you don't get this. You don't get the feeling of being there in person. That is what I was talking about. People genuinely want to help people. People genuinely want to support people. People genuinely want to love people. And that's the feeling that I came away with too. So I don't know if that it was necessarily different this year, but it struck me there and struck this person too.
Yeah.
And this is what I was saying. There was someone else going a little bit off script that got up on during the closing session and said, if it wasn't for what Brian said on the podcast, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm going to repeat it. Okay. And now we've got a year to go, at least a year probably to go before the next Proven Conference.
Yeah. But there are things coming up that you want to keep this in mind for.
Don't miss your transformational moment. And that's what it was for that person who walked up to you and said, I had no idea. Right? Their life has changed because of this.
Right.
My life, our lives were changed because of the Proven Conference 6 years ago.
Right. You had a transformational moment you would not have had if you had not gone to that conference. Don't miss your moment.
Yeah,
man.
Don't miss your moment. It's there. It's there for waiting for you. And you can take advantage of that in the interim with attending any of the webinars that we do, going to the Kickstart Bootcamp if you haven't done that yet. I mean, there are plenty of opportunities to get a little bit of that along the way. What you get at the Proven Conference over 3 days is like from a fire hose feeling, but you can pick up little bits and pieces of that along the way in the interim if you want to.
It's just so great to be amidst so many people who are making things work and have so many great ideas that, gosh, wow. There's another thing I hadn't thought of. We're learning all the time.
It's not on the list, but WPAs for me is meeting a number of our coaching clients while we were there.
Oh, when they're not in the little box, sometimes I have to.
When you can give someone a hug in person, when you can connect 2 or more people because you know that they're going to hit it off.
Oh, yeah. You were connecting people. You were putting people together.
I learned from Adam Wilson on being the connector. But I was
second generation connector.
It's almost like, that game, I think it's called Memory or whatever, where you lay down the cards all spread out and you have to pick them up and find the matching cards. When at that session, I was like, oh, these 2 people are the same, right? They need to be in touch with each other. And it started with 2 people and it grew to 3 and then 4. And I think there's 5 or 6 people in that group right now that are
This is our next generation of coaches.
Next generation of leaders.
This is our next generation of leaders in the community. These, just some really, really inspirational people.
Yeah. And I'm not going to name drop here because I don't want to leave anyone out, but you know who you are. We spent time together and meaningful time. And in some cases, we broke some bread together. In some cases, we had extended conversations. It was just so worth it. And to your point, I think when we emailed the content team before we went on vacation, we're like, look, we're going to be away for a few weeks. We're not going to do a podcast. And we were thinking maybe we'll take even a couple more weeks.
Can't do it.
But we can.
Here we are again.
Because we're so, right?
We're filled up now. We're ready to go.
So looking forward to
overflowing.
Several more of these types of high energy podcasts coming up soon.
So do you have a quote for us today, Brian?
Well, I already gave us plenty of other quotes, but I do have a quote. Your lack of success comes from your inability to embrace monotonous, boring, and sometimes downright unenjoyable work. This quote comes to us from Michael Smoke. Smoak. So what's unenjoyable? What do we hear? What's the biggest complaint that we hear? Sourcing. Right? Until you learn to love it and you can find a way to make it enjoyable.
I'm telling you, it was that way for us. Like when we learned to love sourcing, when we learned to make sourcing our safe space, when we learned to embrace it, that's when our business changed.
Yeah. So lack of success comes from your, I don't want to do that because I stink at it. It's not fun. It's boring. It's the same thing over and over.
But how do you get better at it?
That's right. How do you get more reps?
There's only one way to get better at it. Put in the reps.
To do it. Yep.
Yep. That's right.
Well, we obviously want to do that when we're going to build our business. How do we do that?
Go test more ASINs.
Test more. Oh, by the way, thanks to everyone who's posting pictures of their new mugs on Facebook. That's awesome. We love it. Let's go test some more ASINs. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, thanks for joining us for today's episode. But I've got a guest that I want to bring on, actually a couple guests. Spend a couple minutes with Jeff Schick and Liam Modlin. They're our good friends from jeffschick.com, our resident experts on all things policy and legal when it comes to e-commerce, Amazon, Walmart. They cover the gamut. And I bring them on once a week or so to share some tips and insights that are very useful for the selling community. So what do you got for us this week, Jeff?
So what we're going to talk about is documentation. And I know we've talked about this before, but it's worth reiterating that it is worth, documentation is extremely important because if Amazon starts auditing your supply chain, the first thing they're going to ask for is documents. So what type of documents do you need to store? Well, your bank statements and credit card statements for sure. If you have employees that are doing purchasing for you, save their paychecks and W-2s so that you can prove that they're your employees if it ever gets asked. And then receipts, of course, receipts, order confirmations for OA, delivery confirmations for OA, shipping confirmations for OA. Yeah, anything that you receive, don't hit the delete button. Just, archive it or save it, just mark it as read, but don't delete. Because we have had sellers get suspended and then they say, well, I operate in inbox 0. And what that means is they delete every email after they've read them. Well, that's great for OCD purposes. It's not great when Amazon asks for those emails and you can't prove it. So
Right.
that's why I always recommend, save everything, save every email. And then for, RA receipts, invest in a receipt scanner. They're cheap enough on eBay now that you can get one for, probably under $100 that's used that will do what you're looking for. And it gives so much more quality when it comes to scanning the receipts. It also offers you OCR text recognition, so you can search through them more easily. So can Amazon, they can search through it more easily as well. So, getting a professional receipt scanner it's a couple dollar investment, but it pays dividends when it comes to account health concerns and providing receipts to Amazon for, either, reimbursements or account health purposes.
Excellent, excellent advice. So, Leah, let me ask you this. I'm a brand new seller. I just started. I've only had a few transactions. Do I need to worry about this stuff? Do I need to be collecting all this stuff?
I personally think anyone operating any type of business model needs to have as much documentation as possible. There have been various cases where we've included an additional piece of documentation that didn't seem to be particularly important. And that little bill of lading, that little delivery confirmation did seem to tip the scales. At several conferences, I've jokingly held up my phone. I'm like, look at my 300,000 message inbox. And like, yes, that's disturbing, especially to my mother. But most people, that would, throw their OCD into a tizzy. But if anybody ever needs to ask me anything about any email I ever got from a brand, whether it be marketing or related to my own orders, I can pull it up and show them. And if the worst were to come to happen to my account, then I can provide quite literally anything that you could possibly imagine to show my supply chain for anything that I've ordered, regardless of when I've ordered it. So yes, it's very important.
When in doubt, don't throw it out. There we go.
Right.
Statement, right? That's what your lawyer is telling you right now. And if you don't have these guys on retainer yet, jeffschick.com for a few dollars per month. They'll help you with all of your Amazon, Walmart, e-commerce, policy, and legal questions. If you get a weird document in the mail, you got a question, should I shop at this store or not? Should I save this document or not? Put these guys on your team. That's who we use on my team and many of the great leaders in our community as well. Jeff and Leah, thank you so much. Let's do this again next week. What do you say?
Sounds good.
All right. We'll talk to you then. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.